Hi everybody! Today we're going to be making some paper. This is a really fun and simple project. It's actually quite easy to do from home. We have everything here already set up for you. So we've got these big old buckets of water and the bottom of them is our paper pulp, which is actually just made from a whole bunch of junk mail and old bills that have been shredded, soaked in water, blended, then strained from water, dried, and then saved until use. So I put them in the water last night since they were pretty dry to let them sit and soak so they're super soft. To start, we're going to grab one of our frames. We want to make sure that this has a piece of netting on it. This will just make it easier to take the paper off when you are all done. So we're going to lay that netting flat across the frame on the side that's already netted as well. So we're just adding another layer, and then we're going to close the frame on top of it. If your netting is getting bubbly and not laying flat, if you just dunk it gently in the top of the water, it'll lay much flatter for you once it's wet. So it's a little easier to deal with that way. So now we're nice and flat, because who wants wrinkly paper? And we are ready to go with our frame. Now, we're going to take this and we're going to mix up all that beautiful pulp at the bottom. We want to get it floating nice and good so that we can scoop it up. Once we have it mixed, we're going to take our frame, again making sure that our netting side is, our empty side is up and our netting is on top. That's what we're loading the paper onto. We're going to stick this down into the water underneath all of that pulp, gently pick it up with a slow rocking motion so that we evenly distribute that pulp across our flame. So down into the water, all the way to the bottom, gentle rocking motion as we pick it up, catching all that pulp on our frame, and there we have a piece of paper. Now, if you'd like, you can decorate your paper up, or you can just leave it as is, entirely up to you. So I'm going to set this on my towel. We have all sorts of things to decorate with today. We have glitter. If you use any sort of glitter or any of the heavier objects, you want to go light, because if you put too much on it, it's just going to fall right back off. We also have a bunch of pieces of tissue paper. These are really fun because they stick so well to the paper itself. So I'm just going to use a couple little dots here. Stick them on. You want to make sure they get nice and wet. I got a beautiful little triangle. I don't know, I'm just doing a random pattern. A little yellow dot. Now the pinks and red do tend to bleed a little bit, so just be aware that you'll have possible little smears afterwards. Let's see, I want another teal, but this one I'm going to go ahead and make little pieces out of, just for something different. Voila. Okay, so my paper is loaded with its color. Now we're going to take one of our thicker pieces of netting. So this stuff feels a little bit heavier and plasticky. It's also bright white, so it's easy to tell the difference. We're going to open the top of our frame, stick this piece on top. That will just prevent anything from falling off or sticking. We do want to tap it a little bit. Once it's all wet, it will hold itself together. Then we're going to flip it upside down onto our pillowcase here. Don't put it straight onto the towel because it will stick onto that really rough fabric. So we want to make sure we've got a smooth fabric for it to sit on. And you don't have to worry too much. It's not going to fall off of your frame. So don't be afraid to flip it over. Just put it down there, grab a sponge, squishy side down, rough side up, and we're just going to squish and push in all spots of that frame and try to get as much of that water out as possible. The more water you get out, the faster it will dry and the easier it will be to pack up and take home. So, this also is a really great part of the process for making sure all of your decorations get stuck in that paper nicely. Once you've squeezed out some water, I'm gonna give it one more little because I can still see some puddles there. You can take your frame off. Your nettings, your two pieces of netting should come down so you kind of have a paper sandwich now. I'm going to put my frame off to the side, pick it up here. I'm actually going to take this thick piece that we just placed on and peel it off. So there's your piece of paper. This is what you will be taking home. You make sure to leave it on the skinny netting until it is fully dry. We have little plastic bags that have slits up the side to make it easy to load in there. So you can just slide that into the plastic bag, transport that home without making a mess. When you get home, be sure to take it out, otherwise it will get moldy. Leave it on a counter or something for about 24 hours, possibly a little less if you got good airflow until it's completely dry, and then you can peel that other piece of netting off as well, and you'll have your very own piece of paper.